In baseball, October is the month when greatness comes to call. When hope and heroes take their place center stage.
Hey, Danny, you want a hot dog?
Sure, Dad.
And when magic is in the air. A time when a glimpse into the future comes from remembering the past.
The New York Yankees, team of the decade. It's over. We'll see you tomorrow. Touch of all time. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Wow.
I feel the magic it runs in the air. I see illusions are everywhere. Smoke and mirrors everywhere I go.
Wow.
In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
Anything can happen once you believe the unbelievable.
Here you are, Danny.
But the trophy, it was just...
Game's about to start. Let's go.
Let the magic begin.
As you look at what will be a capacity crowd at Minute Maid Park, a whole lot of orange as we welcome you to the Doosan ALDS telecast on MLB Network presented by Geico. Game one of a best-of-5, the Astros and the Red Sox. Once again, with Jim Cott, I'm Bob Costas. We alluded to this earlier. Justin Verlander has won a Cy Young. He's won an MVP. He's finished second twice in the Cy Young voting. Chris Sale has been in the top 5 4 times. He's never won the award. He appeared headed for the award this year until he fell off in August and September, and Corey Kluber seems to have surpassed him for the award. Just as important, on the other side, Justin Verlander joins the Astros in the nick of time to be eligible for the postseason, and look what he's done since donning a Houston uniform.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about what they've done over the season, but let's get current. What's going to happen today? Well, the Red Sox have some question marks. 11 start sales gone 4-4, earned run average over 4. That's since August 1st. Look at the bottom. He was 13-4 until that point. Verlander, on the other hand, since coming to Houston, perfect, 5-0. Look at the strikeout to walk ratio and the opposing team's batting average. So the Red Sox are hoping that Sale gets a little more depth and tilt on that slider. The Astros are hoping Verlander just keeps cruising along.
We're about to find out. Verlander will be on the bump. We'll run down the starting lineups. And we'll return to Minute Maid Park for the first pitch. We'll get this best-of-5 underway right after this. Welcome back to the Doosan ALDS telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico, with JP Morosi and Jim Cott, Bob Costas at Minute Maid Park. And let's get right to the Geico starting lineup for the Boston Red Sox. "20-year-old Rafael Devers, who won't turn 21 until later this month, is, as you see, the youngest player ever to start a postseason game for the Red Sox. Babe Ruth held that distinction for the better part of a century. In 2013, Xander Bogaerts was a little bit younger than the Babe when he first appeared in a World Series for the Red Sox. But Bogaerts holds the distinction only for 4 years, and here is Devers, whose nickname, appropriately, is Babyface.
Yeah, no surprise, boy. That's great company to be in.
Justin Verlander, compiling a Hall of Fame resume, 15-8 overall this year, but more important, 5-0 with an ERA of 1.06, winning all 5 of his starts since joining the Astros. It was literally moments before the clock struck midnight Eastern Time on August 31st, turning to September 1st, that Verlander okayed the deal that the Astros and Tigers had worked out. He still has 2 years left on a $28 million per year deal. The Tigers will pick up $8 million of it each year. But this showed that the Astros, who had put pretty much all of their eggs in one basket, a basket of young core players, were willing to go outside of that for this kind of all-in acquisition when they're close enough to perhaps make a run to the World Series.
Yeah, JP Morosi will have more details on that story, I'm sure, during the game.
Temperatures are in the high 80s, sunny skies, but they almost always close the roof at Minute Maid Park, and that is the case for this afternoon game. 73 degrees inside with the roof closed. Xander Bogaerts steps in at 273 for the season. And a fastball for a strike at 95. Verlander is 34 years old, and yet his average fastball velocity is the highest it has been in several seasons.
Well, he's had a little rest over the course of the last couple of years with some injuries, so he's rather fresh right now.
Another fastball at 96 evens the count at 1-1. Verlander was both the Cy Young Award winner and the MVP for the Tigers in 2011. He won the pitching Triple Crown, led the league in wins, ERA, and strikeouts as he went 24-5. Bogaerts lifts one wide of third. Bregman in foul ground for the first out.
Well, that's appropriate. The ball in the air, a pop-up off Justin Verlander. Let's look at this guy. He has experience with this. This is his 17th postseason start in high heat. He pitches up in the strike zone. He will hopefully, for the Astros, get some lazy fly balls like that. And since coming here, will develop this as the game goes on. Even though he's a veteran, he has learned how to improve his breaking ball from the Astros technology.
This may surprise some people. Eduardo Nunez is the DH today rather than Hanley Ramirez, but factoring in is this information. He's 6 for 18 lifetime against Verlander. Swings on the first one, chops it to Bregman. He's got it, 2 out. And Nunez is down in a heap.
Whoa.
He has had some knee problems which have bothered him over the last month or so. He declared himself okay as the postseason began, but after hitting the very first pitch he sees, he goes down.
Yeah, you can see the brace on his knee. Let's take another look at it. Right there, right out of the box. He tries to make it to first base and can't.
It wasn't even as if he was busting it down to first. He didn't even have an opportunity to hit full tilt.
No, it was that first or second step that he took, and the Red Sox were hopeful that he was going to be healthy enough to play, but that is immediately going to probably bring Hanley Ramirez into the lineup as the DH. And further for the Red Sox, what a blow that is, as John Farrell was optimistic about his chances of actually playing in the field in some of the games in the future. But that is going to end that. Dustin Pedroia in at second base today. And against left-hand pitching like Keuchel, they were hopeful that maybe Nunez could play third and spell Devers. But boy, he is in some pain.
Nunez was having a very good year with San Francisco. After the Red Sox acquired him at midseason, he kicked it up a notch, and his manager helps to carry him off the field. We're not going to diagnose it from here, but you get the feeling that this isn't a short-term thing.
Yeah, and if those that have not followed the Red Sox since they acquired Nunez, I mean, he got on the roster and was really a force in the lineup to begin with. Never known as a Gold Glover, but a very versatile player, and they were looking forward to having him be that versatile player the rest of the series.
Hit over 300 for the season combined between the Giants and the Red Sox. 8 of his 12 home runs for the year came with Boston. Plus, he's a base running threat, or was.
Yeah, it looked like just that first step. You push off the back leg as a right-hand hitter. You're going to push off that back leg to start toward first base, and it looks like that very first step, his knee gave way.
So we expect that when the lineup turns over, we'll see Hanley Ramirez. Meanwhile, Benintendi steps in, and any other year he'd be a prime Rookie of the Year candidate. But of course, Aaron Judge will run away with that award and is also in the mix for the MVP.
Exaggerated shift playing Benintendi to pull the ball.
0-2. They come to their feet at Minute Maid Park. And Benintendi will make them wait. As Kitty mentioned, this is Verlander's 17th career postseason start. Overall 7-5 in the playoffs and World Series. 4-0 in the division series. 3-2 in the ALCS. 0-3 in the World Series. The Cardinals got him twice when he was a rookie in 06. And the Giants beat him in 2012 in the Fall Classic. Another 0-2 pitch. Misses outside. Well, he is humming, though, at 95 and 96.
Well, when he first came up with the Tigers, their manager was Jim Leyland, and he said his issue early on was he tried to overthrow the ball early, but as a veteran now, much more under control.
And his 1-2 pitch. Just off the outside corner.
That's one of those pitches we mentioned, the Astros technology. He has learned a little different grip on his changeup. There you see it sinking down and away. Just missed the strike zone. He's improved his breaking ball. He's more than just a fastball pitcher.
Has his sign from Brian McCann. And Benintendi spoils it. It isn't just that Verlander has maintained and perhaps even increased his velocity in recent years. His overall stuff, scouts tell us, is better than it's been in quite some time. The breaking stuff included. Full count now.
Good at bat by Benintendi. Boy, he's fouled off some tough pitches.
And he'll foul off another one.
And what this does, this at bat, even if he doesn't reach base, you know, you're Mookie Betts, you're the other hitters in the Red Sox lineup. You're seeing a lot of the entire arsenal of Justin Verlander right now. You know, 2 quick outs and now a very long at bat, very helpful, could be, to the Red Sox lineup.
Here comes the 9th pitch of this at-bat. And there'll be at least one more.
And that can be so frustrating for a pitcher. You know, you're out there saying, oh, 3 quick outs. And now 3 and 2. The last thing you want to do is throw 10 pitches and then walk him. So I think Benintendi can continue to look for something to hit.
Benintendi had 20 home runs this year and continues to battle Verlander.
Well, there goes my theory. I thought with these 2 guys pitching and the ability to strike out, they might play the game with about 8 or 10 baseballs today. But he's already fouled off 10 of those.
A.J. Hinch, the 43-year-old manager of the Astros, in his 3rd season as Houston skipper. And finally, Verlander wins the battle. Got him with the slider down and in to close out a 1-2-3 first. Here's the Geico starting lineup for the Astros. Carlos Correa at 23, one of the game's emerging stars, Rookie of the Year in 2015. Jeff Lunau's first draft choice, taken #1 overall in 2012 after Lunau took over the organization as its GM. A team that had lost 100 games the year before he got here. Lost 107, then 111 his first 2 years. He knew he had to tear it down before he could build it up. And now you see the results of the plan. 0-2 to George Springer, who can start a game with a bang, a leadoff man with 34 home runs. One and two. The plate umpire is Dan Bellino. Angel Hernandez at first, Ted Barrett, the crew chief, at second, Mark Wegner at third. 6 umpires in the postseason, as you know. Mike Everett has the left field line, Marty Foster in right field. 2-2. 28-year-old Chris Sale in his first postseason start. Runs the count out full. Alex Bregman on deck, and then Altuve. Got him. Springer was on his way to first. He'll have to make a right turn, called out on strikes.
Well, you see the fastball knee high, catch the inside corner with that kind of three-quarter arm angle. Right there, you can see it come across the back knee. Plenty high enough and caught the inside corner.
So now here's the third baseman, Bregman. One of a half-dozen Astro All-Stars still in their 20s.
Now, this guy had quite a series in Fenway when these two teams ended the year, and quick on the inside pitch, which with this convenient target out here at Minute Maid Park to left field, very helpful.
Fouled away, 0-2.
You can see what Sale presents as a problem to a hitter. A three-quarter delivery. Good hitters will tell you cannot protect both sides of the plate at the same time. You look in or out. And Sale with that moving fastball and then the slider has the ability to keep going in and out.
Last year with the White Sox, Sale went 17-10 and threw 6 complete games. This year he had only 1 complete game, but he led the majors with 21 starts of 7 innings or more. And of course, when you've got Craig Kimbrell to finish up, more often than not, John Farrell's going to say 8 innings is just fine. Still 2-2. Sale is 6'6" and a lean 180 from Lakeland, Florida. As we mentioned, it looked at midseason as if he had the Cy Young all wrapped up. Then he faltered, and Corey Kluber surged. Here's a long drive to deep left field, and the Astros are on the board first. Alex Bregman had 19 of them during the regular season. This one, on his first swing of October, makes it 1-0 Astros. Chance of MVP, Greed Altuve. It'll be an interesting vote. Judge is in there. Ramirez and Lindor of the Indians. Mike Trout will get some support, even though the Angels didn't make the postseason. Altuve smacks one toward left center field. Back at the wall, Benintendi. They go back to back and go up 2-0. Sale has been susceptible to the home run this year, and the Astros get to him twice here in the first. Now Correa takes inside.
Yeah, particularly from September on. Last 2 seasons, 51 home runs allowed, a third of them in September. And that arm angle just a little bit lower. Pitch is not quite as crisp so far today.
In Sale's last start 9 days ago against Toronto, the Blue Jays blasted 4 against him.
Yeah, he had 8 days rest, had a good bullpen session on Monday. He was on hold should he be used on the final game of the season, so he's had ample rest, but the arm angle and the sharpness not there yet. I mentioned to you as he was taking his warm-up pitches, I looked out and I said his arm looks like it's dropped toward the first baseline several inches. You know, that can be a number of things. You showed the innings and the strikeouts. 308 strikeouts in 214 innings. That's a lot of pitches. He and Verlander 1-2 in pitches thrown during the season.
Altuve explaining just how he did it. And now here's a shot to right, but Mookie Betts is there to take it. Gold Glove quality outfielder who ranks very high in all the advanced defensive metrics, and that's the second out. Evan Gattis is the DH this afternoon for the Astros. Hit .263 with a dozen homers. Down and in ball 1.
Yeah, there's an indication you got a reaction from the crowd because the ball almost hit Gattis in the foot. But the break of that slider gives you an indication that it is flat and not down and crisp, down and in.
Sale is almost always virtually expressionless on the mound. You can't tell if he's losing 2-0, if he's winning 2-0, if he's pitching a no-hitter, if he's being pummeled. He's got that placid expression. But inside, he can't be happy. And here's another ball that's well hit, but apparently off the end of the bat. So Benintendi comes in to take it. But plenty to cheer about in the bottom of the first at Minute Maid Park. First Bregman, and then Altuve takes Sale deep. And after one, 2-0 Houston. The American League Division Series is presented by Doosan, official partner of Major League Baseball. And this MLB Network telecast is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save. Mookie Betts in the cleanup spot, facing Verlander, who's been staked to a 2-0 lead. Mookie finished second behind Mike Trout in the MVP balloting a year ago. He's fallen off offensively to 264, but still, as you see, drove home more than 100 runs. And he's a base running threat. He swiped 26. And there's just about nobody better in right field than Mookie Betts.
Yeah, the Red Sox really have 3 outfielders, very athletic, that could play center field on a lot of teams. All 3 of them, Benintendi, Bradley, and Mookie Betts.
Hit hard, but it's right at Springer.
Well, we mentioned Chris Sale's woes since August 1. Not the same pitcher as early in the year. Here's one of the reasons. Check the slider. The arm angle a little bit lower, the slider flatter. That to a right-hand hitter is the joy zone. See, the target is up and away. That's the target to Altuve on the fastball. Got a little too much of the plate. So I don't know if it's fatigue. He had a good bullpen session. He's got a lot of heart. He's going to challenge hitters. But right now the stuff is just not at what it was early in the year.
For his career, Mitch Moreland is 10 for 33 with 6 doubles against Verlander. Not too many have fared better than that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But well, when you look at the ups and downs that Justin has had the last few years, those stats tell you what happened in the past. But these last 5 games, he's been pretty unhittable.
Much of that, of course, when Mitch was with Texas. And prior to this past month, Verlander's entire 13-year big league career was with Detroit.
See again the exaggerated shift. They don't play Bregman quite as far on the left field side that he did against Benintendi. Clubs today, and Houston's at the top of the list, ahead of the curve with all the technology that they put into pitching and fielding, positioning.
Crowd doesn't like it, but Dan Bellino said it didn't have enough of the plate. 3-1. Interesting as you look at the defensive alignment. They play him to pull in the infield, but they shade him the opposite way in the outfield.
Yeah, that I could see why he looked in, and Brian McCann quickly turned his head to the side just to question the home plate umpire. Where was that pitch?
Inside, ball 4, first base runner for the Red Sox.
Well, no matter how great the pitchers are, the third guy that can affect the outcome of the game is the home plate umpire. Pitchers want to get a look at how generous the strike zone or accurate the strike zone might be. It's a little tight so far as Justin Verlander is concerned. There's the defense behind Justin Verlander. Marwin Gonzalez out left and Springer in center. Josh Reddick in right field around the infield. Bregman, Correa, Altuve. Bregman, Correa, Altuve. And over at first base, Gurriel. Behind the plate, the veteran Brian McCann.
Dustin Pedroia, with ankle and knee injuries, managed to get into just over 100 games this year. As you see, he hit 293. His career mark is exactly 300. But most of that is not against Justin Verlander, against whom he is 3 for 30 lifetime. Pedroia, the 07 Rookie of the Year, and the next season the MVP for the Red Sox. Lines it foul. 2-1. Chris Sale perhaps wondering, where did June and July go?
Yeah, you could sense that even in his warm-up pitches. We're going to be eager to see whether he can correct it, whether he can get that arm angle up a little bit higher.
From the start of the season till early August, he was baseball's best.
13-4, and he's kind of had a history over the last few years of wearing down a little bit late in the season.
3-1 now to Pedroia.
Well, it's encouraging to the Red Sox. I mean, in the 5 starts with Houston, Verlander's given up very few base runners, only 5 walks. And now a walk and a 3-1 count.
Come on back, Dustin. Come on back.
Well, this could be a tough start for Dan Bellino. A couple of pitches that looked pretty good went for balls, and that one well outside the strike zone goes for a strike.
Dustin's been around more than long enough to know that regardless of the call, you don't help yourself. Moreland goes, but now he can slow up. The pitch is high, back-to-back walks. 2 on with 1 out.
Wow, what a shock this is, the way Verlander pitched in the first inning. Benintendi gave him a tough at-bat, but now suddenly, with a 2-run lead, I mean, he's walked 5 guys in the last 5 starts in 34 innings, and he walks back-to-back hitters.
So now Devers to face Verlander. Rafael broke in with a bang in his first 20 games, 364 with 8 homers. Since then, in 38 games, 241 with just 2 home runs. Fouls it back.
Boy, good swing. Figure after 2 walks, you're looking for a fastball. Verlander wants to get ahead. He had a good swing at that, fouled it straight back.
Tying runs on with 1 out in the top of the second. Since the start of 2013, nearly 30 different guys have played third base for the Red Sox. Seemed like they had tried everybody this side of Frank Malzone and Butch Hobson. But it looks like that revolving door has stopped spinning with the arrival of Rafael Devers. Verlander ahead of him 0-2. Switch hitting catcher Sandy Leone waits on deck. And down goes Devers. Second strikeout for Verlander. Blew it past him upstairs.
Well, there's the high heat in this day of technology where he can track everything. The spin rate on Verlander's 4-seam fastball is the best in the business. And what that does, fastballs will lose a little bit of velocity on their way to the plate, but this one kind of maintains its angle, and you see underneath it. A ball doesn't rise, it can't rise, but it stays at that level longer than most pitchers' fastballs.
So now 2 on with 2 out, and Leone looking to pick him up. Takes a strike. Sandy has caught all but 1 of Chris Sale's starts this year. The only time he didn't, Christian Vasquez wound up winning an epic game with a 2-out bottom of the 9th 3-run homer off Cody Allen of Cleveland to win it 12-10 for the Red Sox in a game that had too many twists and turns to possibly detail here. An incredible punctuation to an incredible game. But Vasquez starts this one on the bench. Sale more comfortable with Leon behind the plate. Oh, and 2. He finished Benintendi with a slider to end the first. He gets ahead of Leon 0-2 with the slider here in the second. And a curveball is grounded up the middle for a base hit. Here comes Moreland being waved home. The throw is going to go to third, and Pedroia is out. And the question is whether or not Moreland crossed the plate before they got Pedroia. And he did.
John Farrell looking like he may want to challenge this call.
The scoreboard reads 2-1. Moreland is not the quickest guy in the world. Pedroia trying to make it to third. I guess there are multiple questions. The call at third and the question of whether Moreland crossed the plate before Pedroia was out at third.
Well, I think Moreland
He did not score. The run was waved off.
Wow.
The run was waved off.
It looked like he was well past home, and then Pedroia, accurate throw, you see the sweep tag, tried to give him the swim move.
All right, there's no question that he's out.
Right.
So now we have a replay review presented by W.B. Mason.
Because when Dan Bellino's signaled up here, Moreland was already in the Astros on deck circle. I thought it looked like he clearly crossed the plate. Breaking ball again, nice at bat by Leon. He saw 2 of them down and in. That one got too much of the plate. Sandy not fleet of foot. But with the overshift to the Astros, this was hit in a perfect spot. So they're not questioning the tag at third.
Nope.
They're questioning whether Moreland.
The inning is over. The question is the score 2-0 or is it 2-1?
Right.
Sale back to the mound. His teammates back to the diamond. The question is, what's the score?
Yeah, and that's huge. You don't get that many opportunities against Verlander, so that's huge for the Red Sox to be able to get that run.
This is key right here. It looks to me like a split second before the tag is applied to Pedroia, Moreland touches the plate.
Yeah, it sure did.
The plate umpire, Dan Bellino, waved the run off.
Yeah, they're still looking at that. The fans are cheering, of course, because of the tag at third.
He scores.
I still don't know what he signals. Did it score or didn't it?
He's scoring. He's indicating out at third, but that the run counts, and the score is 2-1. And there you have it for now. Welcome back to the Doosan ALDS telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico, with Jim Todd and JP Morosi, Bob Costas at Minute Maid Park, where we had a replay review that reversed a call at the end of the top half of the second inning. In any case, it wasn't the best base running play by a veteran like Dustin Pedroia to make the third out at third base, and he has to know that Moreland isn't all that fast, so he put the run in danger.
Yeah, he really did. And talking to Brian Butterfield, their third base coach, early in the year about the Red Sox base running, they're willing to take those chances. They don't hit a lot of home runs. They're aggressive on the bases. They steal a lot of bases, and take extra bases, but they get thrown out a great deal in situations where it may not have been the right decision, like that one, making the third out at third.
By a split second, Moreland touched the plate before the tag was applied to Pedroia. Reddick lines one over the leaping Moreland and down the right field line. He'll have at least one, and he'll stop there. So it was Reddick who got the assist on the throw to Bregman that caught Pedroia, and now he opens the bottom half of the second with a single.
Chris Sale, let's break down what we expected of him today, or what we thought might happen. Is he back? So far he's not. Since August 1st, 4-4 with the ERA over 4. Is the slider sharp with some depth and tilt, or flat? So far it's been pretty flat. Never underestimate conviction. He pitches with a lot of heart, not afraid to challenge hitters and trust his stuff.
Here's the 32-year-old veteran of Cuban baseball, Yuli Gurriel, at the plate. Had a good season, just missed hitting 300 with some pop. With that tremendous young core, they have added veterans like Gurriel, Carlos Beltran, who's on the bench, which hitter now 40, returning to Houston, Brian McCann, who's catching, Josh Reddick, who's aboard at first base, and perhaps most important of all, Verlander.
Good pitch there. Reddick, actually a product of the Red Sox organization. He was with the Red Sox the early part of his career. They went to Oakland.
The 1-2, ripped foul.
Yeah, see, even the foul balls like that, the fact that they're barreled up, they're hitting a lot of balls. He's not taking the ball off the fat of the bat, which means the right-hand hitters are seeing it quite nicely. Doesn't have that late sharp break.
Reddick at first is sneaky if you're not careful. He stole 7 in 10 attempts. Nearly clipped him. 2-2.
See where the target is, and again, kind of tugs it to the inside part of the plate, off the inside part of the plate.
Bouncing ball foul. Once again, about Chris Sale, who was 13-4 at one point. He finishes at 17-8, ERA 2.90 in 32 starts. Still a fine season. But consider what Corey Kluber did, how strong his second half was. He finishes 18-4, ERA 2.25, 5 complete games, 3 of them shutouts. Full count, so the guess would have to be leading the league in ERA, complete games, and shutouts. And with a record of 18-4, that Cleveland's Corey Kluber's going to grab the Cy Young.
I would think so. There you see the splits the first part of the year, and now you can see it in his eye. He doesn't quite have that look in his eye, that confident look. He's searching for it.
Reddick is going. And here's a fly ball to center field that sends Bradley back, but he has room.
Well, let's check out the Red Sox. In addition to Jackie Bradley Jr. behind Chris Sale, we mentioned they have three very athletic outfielders that could probably all play center field. Andrew Benintendi, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Mookie Betts. Around the infield, the rookie Rafael Devers, Xander Bogaerts at short, Dustin Pedroia, the veteran, and Gold Glover at second. Mitch Moreland, also a Gold Glover, over at first. Sandy Leon, as usual, except for one start this year, catches Chris Sale.
And now the left fielder, at least today, Marwin Gonzalez, a Swiss Army knife of a player. He's played 6 different positions this year, and on top of it, he's a switch hitter.
Boy, is this guy, or guys like Gonzalez, so valuable to a team today where they carry 12 pitchers oftentimes and they have only 4 or 5 players on the bench. So here's a guy who can play 5 different positions, hits 300, knocks in runs.
Oh, 0-2. One game in center field, 3 in right. So actually, that's 7 positions he played during the course of his career.
All he has to do is pitch and catch.
And Sale will come back now on 0-2. And he strikes him out. First strikeout for Sale, who put more than 300 Ks in the book during the season. Oh, make it number 2. I shortchanged it. He struck George Springer out to start the game, so that's his second.
You can see the hand position still a little flat, almost underneath the ball, but he had enough late break on it where Gonzalez swung over it.
Two out, Reddick still at first. And Brian McCann in the number 9 spot takes a strike. You know, you were talking about Gonzalez missing only pitcher and catcher. Andrew Romine of the Tigers played all 9 positions in one game the last weekend of the season. Tigers were out of it. Why not? All 9 positions, same game. Hasn't been done often. Not unprecedented, but
my teammate Cesar Tovar did that in Minnesota and actually struck out Reggie Jackson.
I'm sure Reggie was thrilled with that.
Well, his last couple are the best pitches he's thrown. You know, even though we've shown some close-up shots of the arm angle being down, that's all right, but you try to keep your hand on top of the ball. So the ball has some down action to it. And if the arm drops and the hand drops, that's where you get the little frisbees, we call them, the flat spinners that go out of the ballpark.
Two and two to McCann. The ball gets away, and trotting down to second is Reddick.
Oftentimes, without a man on second, you just need one sign. But it almost looked, watch Sandy Leon, and I think the way he went with his glove, he was not anticipating that pitch. No body movement whatsoever. Catcher usually with a pitch like that will shift outside, try to block it. So obviously there was a mix-up somewhere.
The ruling is pass ball. So Reddick in scoring position, and the count 3-2 to Brian McCann.
John Farrell telling us before the game how dangerous this team, how productive this team has been with 2 outs. How many runs they score in these situations.
The Astros lead the majors in runs per game, team batting average, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, extra base hits, and contact rate, and a close second to the Yankees in team home runs. What else is there?
And they steal enough bases. They don't steal a lot of bases, but they have enough speed.
That's out of play. Reddick away from second, and he sprints for third, but it's a moot point, a swing and a miss. Sale fans the last 2 hitters in the second. He has 3 for the game. Reddick is stranded, and it remains 2-1 Houston. Every trip to the park can become a story for life. Tell us about the baseball moments you'll never forget. Share your favorite baseball memory with Bank of America using hashtag MLB Memory Bank. On to the third in a 2-1 game. Jackie Bradley Jr. the hitter.
Side.
Bregman in close at third. Jackie has speed, might drop one down. Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio embrace Hall of Famers. Longtime teammates. And Nolan Ryan in the front row, who spent a portion of his Hall of Fame career as an Astro. Jackie Bradley Jr. skies one to center. Springer's under it.
Apropos having Nolan behind home plate, that was Verlander's pitching idol, and he's a power guy like Nolan. Of course, there was only one exactly like Nolan to sustain that power that long.
You pitched into your mid-40s like Nolan Ryan did, but in a much different fashion.
Yeah, I pitched in a school zone. He pitched out on the freeway where the speed limit was 90. You know?
And then he exceeded that limit.
Yeah, they counted my fastball. They just counted the stitches on it as it went by, but not Nolan's.
More than 5,700 career strikeouts. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking 7 no-hitters and 19 one-hitters. I could be wrong, but that's what memory tells me. 7 no-hitters and 19 one-hitters. Bogarts fouled out to start the game. Woo! Let's go to J.P. Morosi.
Well, Bob, Nolan Ryan, of course, works for the Houston Astros now. His son, Reed Ryan, is the club's president, and I spoke with Reed yesterday about the comparison between Justin Verlander and his father. He said the thing about both of them, when they encounter trouble, they have that way of increasing their velocity and their competitiveness as well.
Good point, JP. Yeah, it's the key to success, even when you may not have your top stuff, is to make those good pitches in key situations like he has right here.
His 2-2 to Bogarts. Got him.
Hello.
Third strikeout for Verlander.
Country hardball. Four-seam fastball up in the strike zone is the toughest pitch to catch up with. There's so much more area your bat has to move. You can drop the barrel down on a low pitch, but it's tough to catch up with that one.
So now here's Hanley Ramirez, who has replaced Eduardo Nunez as the DH, as the second batter of the game. Nunez hit a bouncer to third, and as he came out of the batter's box, he crumbled, re-injuring his knee, had to be carried off, and Ramirez now the DH and number 2 hitter. Pops it out of play. This is what happened.
Yes, first
second
step
batter
out
of the game.
Box. You see the brace on that right knee. He tried to make it all the way to first. And wow, I hope he didn't do further damage to that knee by trying to run to first base.
Ramirez drives one down the left field line, and it's a fair ball. One bounce up against the wall. Hanley on his way to second, and in with a 2-out double.
Hanley's having some fun with the dugout in there, saying, "See, they should have started me. I told you I could hit this guy."
Once again, JP.
Bob, the Red Sox are announcing Nunez's injury as a re-aggravation of that right knee injury he's been dealing with for several weeks now. And one important note about the roster in general. Assuming he must be replaced, the Red Sox have to add a position player in his roster spot. One strong candidate is Houston native and Boston outfielder Chris Young.
Makes sense. Hanley with all kinds of gestures, signals, sign language.
A little trash talking going on.
Yeah.
In that's his own teammates. He's not talking to his opposition.
That's directed toward his own dugout. Benintendi. They want to check.
Wow.
And at third base, Mark Weckner said he went far enough.
Yeah, that's a tough call for a base umpire. Try to judge, was there intent? Yeah, that's borderline, but it's a difficult call. Could have gone either way.
That one's on the corner, 0-2. By the way, for the historians out there, Memory served me well on the no-hitters for Nolan Ryan. 7. The one-hitters, 12. Wow. A dozen.
To be a little indecision here. I haven't seen Verlander shake his head. You see McCann. Catchers with the man on second will go through a sequence of 3-4 signs. And 3-1, 1-2. Now they give a little location. Boy, Benintendi is making Verlander's afternoon as difficult as possible. He's fouled off some tough pitches.
It took Verlander 11 pitches to dispose of him on a strikeout to end the first. Ahead of him here 0-2. In a situation where a base hit could tie the game. And a little pop on the infield. Bregman will take it. A 2-out double for Ramirez goes to waste after 2.5. 2-1 Astros. Leader in network, T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And as you see, still some sunlight streaming in through the windows that stretch across from left field to center field here at Minute Maid Park. The lights are on in the ballpark. Plenty of sunshine outside still. And a called strike to George Springer as we move to the bottom of the third.
Yeah, key inning for Chris Sale. That looked like an off-speed pitch. Top of the order for the second time.
Although it's not nearly as quirky nor nearly as fabled, like Fenway Park, Minute Maid Park is an asymmetrical ballpark. 315 down the left field line with a 19-foot wall. 362 to left center with a 25-foot wall. 409, much shorter than it used to be, to straightaway center. The wall is 10 feet high. Right center field also a 10-foot wall at 373. And down the right field line, a 7-foot wall at 326. But Tal's Hill, named after the longtime executive Tal Smith, that embankment in straightaway center, is gone.
Whoa.
And so too is Springer for the second time against Chris Sale.
Like Chris Sale saying, hey, enough of this. I'm going to get my act together. Good high blazer for George Springer. Yeah, they're mentioning Minute Maid Park as we get another look at this fastball up at the strike zone that Springer can't catch up with. The ground rules at Yankee Stadium, where the umpire supervisors say is about one line. This is a two-sided card, completely full of what could happen at Minute Maid Park if the ball bounces a certain way. Ouch.
Bregman hits one right back at Sale. It ricochets toward the third base line. Bregman will be safe. And Sale appears to be okay.
I think he got mostly glove on it. He's athletic, good reactions. Red Sox obviously concerned, but he's showing no indication. I would expect nothing less. Even if it hit him, I don't think you'd see any reaction. Yeah, you can see John Farrell. Did it hit off his glove? And Sandy Loren said yes.
It's a blur right back at him, and let's see.
Yeah, in a good position.
It's the glove.
Had the glove right there. Just hit off the heel of the glove and bounced away.
So now Altuve, who homered in the first, as did Bregman, who's chased back to first. He's now 2 for 2 with his homer, and now the single. Altuve, after the homer in the first, is now 9 for 22 lifetime against Sale with 2 home runs. In addition to the 4 consecutive 200-hit seasons, the 3 batting titles in the last 4 years, every single season that he's been in the big leagues, Altuve has stolen more than 30 bases, and he's twice led the league in that category. So what can't he do?
I don't think there's much he can't do on the baseball field. Hit for power, won a Gold Glove, knocks in runs, and again we pointed out at the top of the telecast, such a small target for a pitcher. You know, he can cover all 4 quadrants of that strike zone with his quick hands.
Sale's 1-1, 2-1. Altuve was signed as a 17-year-old out of Venezuela, now 27 and in the prime of a wonderful career. There's 1 and there's 2. Bogarts to Pedroia and to Moreland. 6-4-3, and that ends it in the third. This is the Doosan ALDS telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. Welcome back to the Doosan ALDS telecast on MLB Network with Jim Todd and JP Morosi, Bob Costas at Minute Maid Park. As the Red Sox come up in the fourth, trailing Verlander and the Astros 2-1. Mookie Betts lined to center his first time up and takes a strike.
Chris Sale had a bit of a breather in the third, 9 pitches, and Verlander, despite these two elite pitchers going at it in the early going, the pitch count is climbing. These lineups have made it tough on him.
That one sails to the backstop. In addition to his Cy Young Award, along with the MVP award in 2011, Verlander finished second behind David Price the next year and second behind Rick Porcello, each now with the Red Sox, last year. So he has consistently been among his league's and baseball's best. His 1-2 to Mookie. Down and away. We mentioned David Price and Rick Porcello of the Red Sox, past Cy Young Award winners, each in the bullpen for this series.
Along with Eduardo Rodriguez, and the Astros as well have on their lineup card everybody available but Dallas Keuchel will start tomorrow. So both managers going to treat this like it's kind of game 5 of the series.
3-2 pitch. Grounded foul. Tomorrow for sure, Drew Pomeranz, who was 17-6 with an ERA of 3.32, against another former Cy Young Award winner, Dallas Keuchel of the Astros. Matchup of left-handers. Keuchel was 14-5 this year, ERA a shade under 3. Doug Fister is definitely the game 3 starter at Fenway Park for John Farrell. A.J. Hinch hasn't committed yet for the Astros.
There's Doug.
Again on 3-2. And another foul back.
Another tough at bat by a Red Sox hitter. Benintendi's had a couple. Verlander gets to 2 strikes. And for the most part, managers would like to throw pitch count out the window in postseason play, but hey, you're going to need these 2 guys in game 4 or 5 as well, so they'll pay attention to that.
Here's a shot that's down the left field line. Mookie can really scoot. He's on his way to second, and it's a leadoff double. So Mookie has twice hit the ball hard off Verlander. He lined to center in the second. And then he whistles a double down the left field line here in the fourth. Now Mitch Moreland. Walked and scored, barely, in the second. Altuve way back in shallow right.
Yeah, against 3 or 4 left-hand hitters, the Astros have employed a completely different configuration. They have Correa right behind second base. Bregman has to play shallow enough because Mookie Betts, with a good jump, he could steal third rather easily.
Here's a little bloop that's going to drop, and Mookie's going to stop at third with nobody out. Moreland just flares it into shallow left, and now the Red Sox have runners at the corners with no one out.
Not many hitters, particularly left-hand hitters, could say they own Justin Verlander. I wouldn't say he owns him, but boy, they have the average where Mitch Moreland has it. Pretty impressive. Target inside, a little higher and a little more of the plate than he wanted, and a good job by Moreland taking it the other way. No chance for Mookie to score, with Gonzalez playing a shallow left field.
So now Pedroia. They'll look for the double play and concede the run if they can get it. Dustin walked his first time. Verlander against a hitter who historically he has dominated. Pedroia is just 3 for 30 lifetime against Verlander.
Well, he's got a hitter's pitch right here. Verlander almost gives me the impression, and I can understand it could happen. The pregame ceremonies here were just awesome, with all the energy and the crowd pumped up, and he's pumped up. And now these last couple innings having a little difficulty commanding his pitches. Dangerous count here to Pedroia, even though Dustin's 3 for 30 against him.
And a pop-up. Let's see if it stays in, and foul ground. Looks like it will, and McCann makes the catch.
Not a productive at bat there. 2-0 count, first and third. Fastball up in the strike zone. Would have been ball 3.
Yep.
And he chased it. No one knows better than Dustin. He is disappointed in that 2-0 swing. 2-0 count. You want to make sure you get a pitch that you like, and Verlander got him to chase one out of the strike zone.
Here's Devers, who struck out in the second. And Pedroia still muttering to himself. Throw it past him at 96 in a spot where he could use a strikeout. He has Devers in an 0-2 hole. And Devers angry with himself because he chased it well out of the strike zone, way upstairs.
McCann, a quick check to the mound. Kind of surprising with a veteran like Brian McCann, because when a pitcher's got a little momentum going, he really doesn't want that choice of what he is thinking. But I guess McCann wanted to make sure they're on the same page, what to throw, where to throw it. Woo. Got by with that one.
Had plenty on it, but maybe too much of the plate, and Devers couldn't quite barrel it up.
See, it moved, it was up, but it moved out over the plate where Devers could give a little piece of it.
One and two.
Well, they have the book on Devers. You can see what they're trying to do. He's taking a few pitches the other way with power, so they're trying to pound that ball inside on him up above the hands.
Sandy Leon on deck.
He has had some swings. There is no fear for a young hitter. I mean, every pitch he's having an aggressive swing at.
Well, you may remember that late in the season he took a 103-mile-an-hour Aroldis Chapman fastball out of the park at Yankee Stadium.
Right. That's why they want to keep going up and in there and keep it from getting the barrel on it.
Another 1-2 pitch. into shallow right field. Here comes Reddick. He makes the catch. Betts tags, heads for the plate. The throw is high, and Mookie scores to tie the game.
Wasn't your typical sacrifice fly, but Reddick on the run, had to reach for it. Nice catch. There's an example of the Red Sox aggressive base running, and a good choice by Mookie Betts. No need to slide. Run right around the tag, which he did.
Moreland held first, and it brings up Leone, who hit a ground single up the middle, on which Moreland was able to score as Pedroia was thrown out trying to go to third, and that ended the inning.
One.
That was back in the second. Three infielders on the right side.
Got a little break on that one, did Verlander. You see the pitch off the inside corner.
This ball is hit solidly to right. It drops in front of Reddick. Moreland stops at second. Leone is 2 for 2.
Oh, this is a little shocking to us, and it's got to be a little shocking to A.J. Hinch, given the way Verlander has pitched in September, and of course Chris Sale with some issues early on. So here we are in the fourth inning, and neither pitcher really has shown that form that we anticipated. I think this is going to force both managers to go to that bullpen a little earlier than they had hoped. Checking to see what sign they're going to use now with a runner on second base. A lot of those trips these days because teams are aware that other teams with video can pick up what sign they're using and where the location might be.
And of course, the Red Sox were embroiled in a mini scandal about using technology rather than pure baseball instincts and eyesight to steal signs against the Yankees.
I think now stealing signs has always been fair game, but I think the rule now is no electronic devices allowed.
The old-fashioned way is gamesmanship.
Right.
Using technology is cheating.
It's not really stealing signs, it's getting the signs. It's, you know, it's being able to find out what they are, and that's perfectly legal.
Speaking of the Yanks, they open at Cleveland later. This field of 8, after the wild card games pared it down from 10, this field of 8 is about as strong as any I can recall since they expanded the playoffs. You could make a case for any one of the 8. Stronger case for some than for others, but it would not be shocking if any one of the 8 made it to the World Series. Any 2. It would be shocking if only one made it to the World Series and was forced to play an intra-squad game.
Right.
Viewership might drop. The 0-2 pitch.
Well, the word in the pregame meetings, I'm sure, with the Astros was pound the fastball inside. I mean, we have seen pitch after pitch to Benintendi, to Devers, who fought some of them off and got a sacrifice fly and a little breaking ball, now to Bradley.
He lays off and it just misses. Curveball outside. A chopper toward Altuve. And that's that. But the Red Sox draw even. As a proud sponsor of Major League Baseball, Evan Williams is giving you a chance to win an all-expenses-paid trip to the 2017 World Series. Go to evanwilliams.com/World Series sweepstakes to learn more. And there is Jeff Bagwell in person. Just this summer, inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame. Large patches of sunlight at this time of the day, which I imagine, especially for visiting outfielders, might make things difficult.
Yeah, you would think it would, with the shadow to the daylight. And of course, we talked to the umpires before the game. Any ball that hits the roof up here, falls down in that area, is in play. They've had a few do that.
Carlos Correa, who's at the plate now, leading off in the bottom of the fourth, is, like his veteran teammate Carlos Beltran and like the Astros bench coach Alex Cora, from Puerto Rico. And here's a little pop on the infield that Pedroia is going to take care of. And so his adopted baseball home of Houston was hit by Hurricane Harvey, and his homeland of Puerto Rico, and there's Cora, devastated by Maria. And each of them in their own way has been involved in aid efforts, getting relatives off the island in the case of Puerto Rico, raising money here in Houston. Jim Crane, the owner of the Astros, has been very generous. Justin Verlander pledged $100,000 plus his entire playoff share. And Evan Gattis's bat is broken in two. Let's go to JP.
Well, Bob, you mentioned Astros owner Jim Crane, and recently, within the last week, he chartered a passenger jet to go down to Puerto Rico and bring back family members of many of the players that you just mentioned, including Astros bench coach Alex Cora, and even a rival player of the Astros, Indians shortstop Francisco Lindor.
Strike two is called to Gaddis.
It's like Chris Sale has gotten the hand on top a little bit more. You see Gaddis shake his head. Yeah, that's a pretty good pitch, he said, and it was.
Gaddis line to left his first time. You know, sometimes it's a bit overstated about sports being able to lift the spirits of a community that's been hit by one bit of adversity or another. But when we arrived in Houston yesterday, so many people, cab drivers, people in the lobby of the hotel, talking about how the Astros or the Texans, who played the Chiefs on Sunday, and J.J. Watt did so much in terms of raising money in the aftermath of Harvey. How sports can be a unifying force and take people's minds away from all the travail.
And you mentioned, of course, Justin Verlander, just new to Houston. Boy, the effort that he has put forth.
Sale's 2-2 pitch. Runs the count out full.
Pretty good take there by Gaddis. That's a close pitch. Just a bit low and outside.
Gaddis hits this one hard down the left field line, and it will hit the wall on the fly. Benintendi fields it. Gaddis heads for second and dives in with a double. Ted Barrett, the crew chief, taking a close look. And in this era of replay, you always have to be sure that the sliding player held the bag, which Gaddis did.
Again, that pitch instead of outside, down and in. Gaddis with a look at it. Now he's going to stop for an instant, and then, oh, I think I can make it. Benintendi's throw a little high and wide. An accurate throw may have had a chance. Off the scoreboard, right underneath the 5. Benintendi plays it nicely, but you see a little too much air under the throw and off target, and Gaddis gets in ahead of the tag.
So now Reddick with a chance to help the Astros reclaim the lead. Had a single his first time. The Astros, who began play in 1962 as the Houston Colt 45s, became the Astros in 1965 as the Astrodome opened, have never won the World Series. Reddick with a sharp shot to center. Here comes Jackie Bradley Jr. with a dive. And he made the play. Wow, what a play.
No surprise. Red Sox fans have seen this all year. Jackie Bradley shaking his head. Yeah, I do that routinely. He'll get the thumb of the glove by the ground.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's why I hesitated. And A.J. Hinch says, well, let's check it out.
I think this is going to be difficult for umpires to see.
But also difficult to sort out, because Gaddis didn't know what to do. If, in fact, the ball was trapped, Gaddis would have made it to third. Gaddis went back to second.
Right.
So you know you're going to put, if they overturn it on this replay review presented by W.B. Mason, you know you're going to put Reddick at first. Where do you put Gaddis?
I think the reason it's going to be tough is watch the ball and watch the thumb of his glove near the ground. And right there, the ball disappears. It did look like it may have short hopped and caught some grass. Probably the slow-mo technology. Yep.
The fans are reacting because they're seeing it on the big board. And as great an effort as it was by Jackie Bradley Jr., it looked to me like he trapped it.
And I think the discussion, Bob, is just what you referred to. So A.J. Hinch is saying if it's a hit, then does Gaddis get to advance? I still don't know. I mean, The fingers on that glove with the laces, did it bounce off the tip of the fingers, or can they get close enough to see that it actually hit the grass? If there's not enough evidence, see that you can't see the index finger of that glove. No.
Yep. And where the runner winds up is at the discretion of the replay official in New York, not the umpires on the field. And let's see where they're going to place Gaddis. Gaddis does not run all that well. And so their reasoning might be that even had Bradley trapped it, he didn't lose the ball. He came up, he would have been able to throw, and Gaddis would have been betwixt and between, not knowing whether it would have been caught, and he would have been retreating to second base. So apparently they're going to leave him there.
Yeah, he wouldn't have advanced on it. Another look. Great effort by Bradley. See Gaddis halfway. Then, oh.
Well, if the call right away was no catch, he would have made it to third. But they send him back to second. So he doesn't advance on what ultimately becomes a single by Reddick, who's now 2 for 2. The 1-0 to Gurriel. Just to finish the earlier thought, more than half a century of Colt 45 and then Astro baseball. No world championship. One trip to the World Series in 2005 where they were promptly swept by the White Sox. This is their 11th playoff appearance. And while all their waiting and all their heartbreak is not nearly as legendary as the Red Sox until they broke through in '04, or the Cubs until they broke through last year, longtime Astro fans have known their share of what ifs and near misses.
Be pretty appropriate this year since they were on the cover of Sports Illustrated 2 years ago. Said World Series 3 years ago, World Series champions 2017.
Yeah, Ben Ryder had that cover story in the summer of 2014. Here are your 2017 world champions, and they were building toward it, and they've got a shot at it. Fly ball left field. Benintendi is there. Well, you think back in 1980 when the LCS was best of 5, the Astros lost a crazy series to the Phillies. In '86, it was best of 7. They lost a series to the Mets where Game 6 went 16 innings. In 2004, they lost the LCS to the Cardinals in 7 games. Then after switching to the American League 2 years ago in the division series against the Royals, they had a 2-1 lead in games and a 6-2 lead in Game 4 in the 8th inning. Kansas City rallied, came back, won that game, won Game 5, ultimately went on to win the World Series, and the Astros went home. So close and yet so far has been a frequent theme with this franchise. Marwin Gonzalez now.
Yeah, with all the hype for the star players, rightly so, this guy kind of gets lost with the Altuves and Correas and Springers. But when you look at those numbers, he has been as good a run producer as they have.
Struck out his first time. Two on, 2 out in a 2-2 game. Here's JP.
Bob, Marwin Gonzalez actually led the Astros in RBIs, but did not get to 100 RBIs. And in fact, the Astros, the first team since the 1984 Detroit Tigers to lead their league in runs without having a single 100 RBI player.
Doing a little of this and a little of that and just about everything extremely well. Here's a drive to right center field. On the run, Bradley. He won't get it. It short hops the wall. 1 run is home. Here comes another. And the Astros take a 4-2 lead. Gaddis lumbered home from second. Reddick scampered home from first on the double by Marwin Gonzalez.
And another 2-out at bat, not quite up high enough where Chris Sale wanted it, where Gonzalez could drop the barrel on it, take it the opposite way. And as JP pointed out, nobody with 100 RBIs, but what balance in this lineup, up and down. Gonzalez heading down there in the 8th spot, picks up 2 big RBIs to give the Astros the lead.
McCann pops it up. Bogarts wants it. The inning is over, but 2 runs on the board. And just to finish the thought, not a single player with 100 RBIs, yet they led the majors in runs per game. The American League Division Series is presented by Doosan, official partner of Major League Baseball, and this MLB Network telecast is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save. Top of the order at the top of the 5th. portion of it. Hanley Ramirez, since replacing Eduardo Nunez as the DH, is 2 for 2. He doubled his first time, hits this one through the hole on the left side for a 1-out single.
And Hanley's taking this personal.
He is.
I wasn't in the lineup. Gets a double and now hits that.
Hanley's grandmother was apparently an avid reader of Shakespeare.
Really?
And wanted to name him Hamlet. But they settled on Hanley.
Yeah, that's better.
To be or not to be the designated hitter might have been the question before the game. There was no choice after Nunez went down. And Ramirez has stepped in ably.
I think this is hitter to hitter now. I'm surprised that the Astros don't get somebody up quickly. You see the shift that they've had on for Benintendi. No action yet, but A.J. Hinch had told us before the game all the different matchups and the guys that he could use. Only Keuchel, tomorrow's starter, not on the list, but obviously neither of these elite starting pitchers have been as sharp as we anticipated.
Keep in mind, both these starters are on long rest, and Verlander, even in this era of closely watched pitch counts, has been known to have 120 pitch games. But now he's moving up toward 90, and we're just in the 5th. The Red Sox won 2 of 3 here against the Astros in June. The regular season concluded with Houston winning 3 out of 4 at Fenway Park. So it's possible, if this series goes the limit, that the Red Sox and Astros will play each other 9 straight times. But neither Verlander nor Sale pitched in that regular season concluding series in Fenway last weekend. The 1-2 to Benintendi. He pokes it toward the middle. Correa scoops it up, steps on the bag and throws and gets it. Might have been Bregman on the shift. Correa was on the other side of second base. Just reflexively, when it's hit toward the shortstop's position, you think, well, okay, the shortstop fielded it. It was Bregman. So it's a 5-3 double play. For those of you scoring at home, if anyone does that anymore. The action continues with the Doosan ALDS Game 1. Yankees Indians live on FS1 tonight at 7:30 Eastern. Our buddies Matt Vasgersian and John Smoltz will have the call. One and two to Springer, who has struck out twice against Sale. Houston, one of 3 big league teams that won more than 100 games this year. And Springer has the hat trick, and not the kind you want.
No, he's
3 strikeouts.
Usually vulnerable to the inside pitch. They went up and away. But here's an example of a few of Chris Sale's pitches that have not really been the Chris Sale pitches of early in the year. The flat slider, then the fastball got too much of the plate. Another down and in slider with not enough down break to it. Gaddis with a double, and then the fastball up and away. And the Astros' #1 run producer, Gonzalez, gives them a 4-2 lead.
So Sale has 5 strikeouts, 3 of them against Springer. 3 teams to finish up past the century mark in victories: the Dodgers, the Indians, the Astros. But the Nationals won nearly 100. And quietly, almost unnoticed, the Cubs had the best record in the National League in the second half. And the Yankees are dangerous. And the Diamondbacks won 11 of 19 head-to-head against the Dodgers.
A lot of possibilities. I think he's got the green light if he wants it. 3-0 count.
He's homered and singled. He takes a strike.
Good hitting. He's quick on the inside pitch. That one was on the outside corner. Not a good 3-0 pitch to swing at.
When you look at the first 4 hitters before you get to Gaddis, the veteran DH, Springer, Bregman, Altuve, Correa, still young, all of them all-stars. Guys like Correa and Altuve possibly with Hall of Fame potential. You see how well Jeff Lunau's plan has worked out. Changeup finishes Bregman, and that's 6 strikeouts for Sale, 2 of them in this inning.
Yeah, it's a pitch that goes unnoticed. When you look at Chris Sale's power in his slider, he doesn't have as many strikeouts on that pitch, but this is a good one right here. Good shot by our cameraman. You see the ball choke back in the palm of the hand. And usually when guys are timing you the way Astros hitters have been today, that's a very effective pitch. Sale really hasn't used it all that often.
Altuve drives one to deep left center field. Is this his second? You bet. Almost to the same spot. Second of the game after 24 for the second consecutive season for the Mighty Might. And perhaps this year's MVP. And now Correa, who's 0 for 2. This is not intended as a brief for Altuve's MVP chances. As we mentioned earlier, there are other very legitimate candidates. But they're still going with the approach from years and years ago when it was one league, win the pennant. Now you have multi-layers of the playoffs. I think the voters ought to be able to consider the postseason. You shouldn't be eliminated from consideration if your team doesn't make the playoffs. There's a bouncing ball to short, and Bogarts is going to finish the inning. But why not be able to consider how well or not so well a player does in the postseason prior to the World Series, then vote for the league MVP before the World Series starts?
Fair point.
For whatever it's worth. Enjoy every postseason moment with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. It's the only place to get it all. Live radio feeds, video highlights, pitch tracking, StatCast, and much more. Download At Bat today. Official caps, t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, and more. Celebrate your favorite team with the latest postseason gear at MLB.com shop. Mookie Betts leads it off in the 6th and takes a strike from Verlander.
Verlander has the reputation of being strong at the end. And right now, pitchers would call this a shutdown inning. You've been able to get 5 runs off Chris Sale. And looking ahead to the Astros bullpen, Verlander can treat this almost like it's the 9th inning for him.
And while he is a horse, if this series were to go 5 and he has to come back, you wouldn't want him to have to throw 120 pitches here. Or if they were to fall behind 2-1 and need to use him in a game 4, all the more reason to try to limit his pitch count today.
Yeah, those last couple breaking balls, indication that maybe the sharpness isn't there. The first one hung kind of high, might have had a piece of the strike zone. That one just tumbled up there.
Two and 2. Well, he's still bringing it at 95, 96, 97.
It's his best pitch.
Mookie is lined out and doubled. The 2-2 to him is a pop to the right side. Moreland in foul ground. Make it Gurriel.
Well, Altuve's home run, StatCast gives us a look courtesy of AWS, powered by AWS. A fastball first pitch, 11th home run this year on the first pitch by Altuve. Chris Sale's been bitten by the first pitch home runs in the last 2 years. The Astros a 3-run lead.
So Betts fouls out to Gurriel at first, and here is Moreland at the plate. He's walked and singled. Shift on, and Altuve in shallow right. Center field, here comes Springer. When you think about how to employ your pitching, the division series is different than any other series in that it's best of 5, but potentially if it goes 5, with 2 off days between games 2 and 3 and between games 4 and 5. So you have to take that into consideration.
Verlander could buy himself another inning here by having what so far is a relatively quick inning.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
A.J. Hinch became the manager of the D-backs back in 2009 when he was just 35. So he's a seasoned major league manager at just age 43. The 0-2. Ooh, just missed.
Verlander thought he had it. Dan Bellino said just a little low.
Two and two. Hit sharply, but there's Bregman across the diamond, and that finishes the Red Sox in the top of the 6th. 5-2 Houston. Welcome back to the Doosan ALDS telecast on MLB Network. Jim Cottis here. So too is J.P. Morosi. We're at Minute Maid Park in Houston, where the home team comes up in the 6th with a 3-run lead. Evan Gattis, the DH, line to left, then doubled and scored. Sale still on the mound. Joe Kelly up in the Boston bullpen. There's the former Cardinal. Sale has been touched for 3 solo home runs, 1 by Bregman, 2 by Altuve. Marwin Gonzalez's 2-run double to right center produced the rest of the Astros runs. 55-year-old John Farrell won the World Series in his first year as the Red Sox manager, 2013. Finished last the next 2 seasons, and then won the division last year in this. In fact, since 2012, the Red Sox in the regular season have known only 2 fates: last or first. They finished in the basement 3 times and at the top of the division 3 times.
Red Sox might have got a break on that pitch. See it drop out of the strike zone. Yeah,
Full count to Gattis.
There's an indication of where we talk about the flatness or the arm angle. Those pitches are designed to catch the inside corner. And early in the year they were. But right now with that arm angle, he's just kind of, as the pitchers would say, tugging them across the plate, and they're missing off the inside part of the plate.
Gattis with a shot that is fair down the left field line. He's going to dig for 2, and he's going to make it with his 2nd double of the afternoon.
Down and in the strike zone, hitter's delight. Chris Sale just has not been able to get those pitches down below the knees. Played well by Benintendi, but by the time he gets to it, Gattis has a sliding double.
Sale has not had a clean inning. The Astros have 9 hits against him.
And this would probably be his last hitter, since Reddick is a left-hand hitter.
Six of the 9 hits for extra bases, 3 doubles, 3 homers. Farrell with a watchful eye on Sale. Check. Yep.
Wow. Reddick didn't like it, but Hinch encouraging him out. Step back in there. Tough pitch for a base umpire to call. Reddick's been rung up twice on that one. He clearly checked. It's too bad. You know, you feel right now for Chris Sale, and Red Sox fans have seen a guy, as you mentioned, on his way to a Cy Young award, but he is worn down right now at this time of the year. The pitch is just, and they haven't from the start just had that same quality and crispness that they had prior to August 1. I know he's hoping he gets one more crack in this series.
His 3-1 pitch coming to Reddick. He walks him. And here comes Farrell. As we mentioned, Kelly was getting ready. Now the business at hand is this division series and beyond if they can get there, but you wonder whether this will change their approach with Sale in seasons to come. He led the league in innings pitched. He pitched past the 7th inning more often than any starter in the majors this year. But will they try to control that during next year's regular season in anticipation of making it to October and having him be fresher?
Nothing worth having comes easy. You have to get up every morning.
This is the Hartford pitching change, and it brings on 29-year-old Joe Kelly in his 6th big league season.
You see the walk-strikeout ratio gives you an idea. His control is not impeccable, but he gets it up there, triple digits. Tough fastball to catch up with.
Yeah, he frequently hits 100 or more. First man he faces is the first baseman, Yuli Gurriel. Down and away, ball 1. Kelly threw a scoreless inning against Houston in the season finale, regular season finale, Sunday at Fenway. A ball and a strike. Kelly has filled a variety of roles in his career: full-time starter, spot starter, long reliever, middle reliever, setup man. The only thing he's never really been asked to do is close, which he did full-time in college. There's 1-1 to Gurriel. Is in there.
99.
He smacks it to center. It drops for a base hit. The slow-footed Gaddis will stop at third. The bases are loaded with nobody out. A double, a walk, and then Gurriel greets Kelly with a single to center.
Yeah, interesting pitch selection by the Red Sox. We talked about Kelly throwing at 100 miles an hour. 3 of the 4 pitches to Gurriel were breaking balls. His second best pitch. And a little easier to catch up with, particularly with a hanging breaking ball, which that one was, up above the belt.
Now the switch hitter Gonzalez turns around to the left side. The last time he came up against Sale, there were 2 men on base. He brought them both home with a double to right center. Now the sacks are juiced. Those are his career numbers with the bases loaded. Even better this year. 8 for 15 with 20 RBIs. Gaddis at third, Reddick at second, Gurriel at first. Looking at where Pedroia is positioned, if the ball is hit sharply toward him, he could come home to get Gaddis.
Just depending on how hard the ball is hit.
Yep. Kelly's 1-1 pitch. Fouled away. A few Red Sox rooters scattered among the crowd here at Minute Maid Park, which is otherwise a sea of orange. The 1-2. He got out of the way. Leon blocked it. Bases loaded. Nobody out. The count now 2-2.
Couldn't tell. That was another breaking ball. Just missed hitting him in the foot. Leon back out to the mound again. Surprising with the velocity that Kelly has. That I think right now at least half of his pitches he's thrown have been breaking pitches.
Gonzalez stepped out. And that'll make the seats foul. If Kelly can get past Gonzalez without another run coming home, then McCann, who is anything but speedy, would come up in a situation where a double play could get them out of the mess.
Interesting, there's a lot of discussion about a pitcher's clock. When you look at Marwin Gonzalez, he would require a hitter's clock. He was taking some very, very deliberate, walking around a lot of time between pitches.
Not quite at the level of a guy we very much admire, the human rain delay, Mike Hargrove, who later went on to manage the Cleveland Indians so successfully. Bouncing ball foul.
Interesting, the commissioner was up in our booth earlier before the game, and these are the kinds of things I think baseball wants to address in the offseason. Trips to the mound, excessive time by pitchers and hitters.
Of course, harder to enforce, even if, and there's Commissioner Manfred, along with his Lieutenant Tony Petitti. Harder to enforce, even if they do put in new rules, with runners on base and in situations like this. A nice block by Leon. Full count with the bases full.
Had some like screwball spin on it almost. I don't know if it was supposed to be a changeup or a two-seam fastball.
Astros looking to bust it wide open. And the 3-2 pitch struck him out.
Wow, what a pitch. A 3-2 changeup, the last thing Gonzalez was looking for.
Absolutely the last thing.
And a big pitch for the Red Sox to keep them in the game, which, as you mentioned, now has a chance to get out with a double play. You see the grip on the baseball there, and in a perfect spot. And you can't blame Marwin Gonzalez. Why would you look for a changeup from Joe Kelly with 3-2 and the bases loaded? And the Red Sox made a good choice, and Kelly made a good pitch.
So now McCann, who was struck out and popped out. Infield looks for the double play, and he takes a ball. McCann, the longtime Brave, spent a stretch with the Yankees. His string of 20 home run seasons was snapped this year, but he still launched 18. Gaddis at third, Reddick away from second, Gurriel the runner at first. A ball and 2 strikes, and that one hit triple digits. George Springer, who struck out 3 times against Chris Sale, may have a chance to try his luck against Kelly next. No play. Still 1-2. Well, there's a vintage t-shirt.
Colt 45.
Yep. Al Wodashik. Roman Mejias. Turk Farrell.
Yeah, there's some names. I'm looking down at Gaddis at third, who is not known for his speed. He could almost steal home.
Yeah.
The Red Sox shifted way over to third, and he's like 2/3 of the way down.
He could literally get a lead. Yeah, look at that lead.
On a little short pass ball. You know, he's like almost halfway down the line, with the Red Sox having all their infielders over on the other side.
The 1-2 pitch again. And this ball is going to drop. A base hit from McCann. It scores 1. It scores 2. And it's 7-2 Houston. It landed softly, but it had a big impact.
Well, the Astros, 2 strike hitters, 2 out hitters. McCann with a high fastball gets on top of it enough. There again, you saw Kelly's grip. The 2-seamer meant to go probably down and away. Never got it down or away. And the Astros widen their lead.
Up steps Springer. That, by the way, closes the book on Chris Sale, and it's not a pretty story. 5 innings pitched, 9 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 homers yielded. He struck out 6 and walked 1 through exactly 100 pitches. With the bases loaded, Kelly struck out Gonzalez, and he had 2 strikes on McCann. So he was close to moving to the verge of getting them out of the mess, but not quite. Bobbled at shortstop, and they will get only 1. Should have been an inning-ending double play. Can't charge an error because they get 1 out.
Been that kind of day, and understandable because when you're out in the field and you see pitch after pitch, you kind of lose just a little bit of your concentration. Footwork not quite there. Took a bit of a high hop, and it's a play obviously Bogaerts usually makes. But these last couple innings have taken a lot of steam out of the Red Sox.
John Farrell with his pitching coach, Carl Willis. At one time, Farrell himself was the Red Sox pitching coach under Terry Francona before going off to manage the Blue Jays for a couple of seasons. Here's Alex Bregman. He has a homer, a double, and a strikeout.
With this lengthy inning here in the 6th inning, and Verlander having pitched 6. Chris Davinsky, an outstanding changeup. Hinch may well say enough for Verlander with the long wait in the dugout.
And with what seems, never taking anything for granted, a safe lead.
Dallas Keuchel will start tomorrow
against Drew Pomeranz. A high fly ball to right. It sends Mookie Betts to the track, and in the corner he's got it. But the Astros tack on a couple more and widen the lead to 7-2. If this holds up, Verlander will be 6-0 as a member of the Astros. StatCast is powered by AWS. See more of MLB's revolutionary tracking technology at MLB.com/StatCast. Hartford pitching change. Chris Davinsky out of the bullpen. Ball one high to Rafael Devers.
Yeah, not vintage Verlander, but yet in 6 innings managed to hold the Red Sox to 2 runs. There's the numbers on Davinsky. High strikeout total. Excellent changeup. You know, for a big guy, you'd anticipate all power, but one of his best pitches is a changeup.
His 2-0 to Devers is taken for a strike. Prior to the All-Star break, Davinsky was routinely used for multiple innings, sometimes as many as 3 or 4. First half of the year, in 35 appearances, he pitched well over 50 innings. 27 appearances after the All-Star break, 28 innings. Foul ground, and it drops. Well, Bregman, McCann. Did it hit the roof? I think it may have hit the roof, and when it hits the roof in foul territory, then that's that. It's a foul ball, and the ball's dead. If it hits the roof in fair territory,
or falls in fair territory. See if both look up. Bregman with a long way to run. Where is it? Oops.
Yeah, it hit the roof, and that's why it took such a strange path. And Devers' path will return into the dugout.
Yeah, Davinsky's got some swagger out there. Boy, he comes in and acts like I got control of this thing. Big guy.
I assume because the Astros had such a huge lead in the American League West, they were able to pull back on Davinsky's innings, save him a bit for October. Blow this one right past Rafael Devers. Leon, soft liner, and look where Altuve is playing.
That's that at bat right there gives you an idea of one of the changes in the games over the years. You know, it's a power game now, power hitting, power pitching, but 7-2 lead, down 5, 1 out with a guy who fell behind the first hitter. Normally managers would even tell you, hey, take a strike, make him throw a strike. But Leon did him a favor, swung at the first pitch, which was not a strike.
That is a strike to Jackie Bradley Jr. It happens far less often. Just look at the way the building is constructed. It only stands to reason. Happens far less often that a ball would hit the roof in fair territory. But it has happened occasionally here. That's a foul ball. And when it does, then the rule is, where does it land? If it hits the roof in fair territory and somehow caroms into foul territory, foul ball. If it lands in fair territory, it's in play.
Of course, that was the case in the Metrodome, where Minnesota played for years, and still is the case at they call the Tropicana Dome, where the Rays play.
Down goes Bradley on the changeup that you were talking about. And Davinsky turns in a 1-2-3-7 with a couple of strikeouts mixed in. coming in is the pitching.
Who has the best combination of power and control?
They go back to back and go up 2-0. I have been fighting for this.
It's a drive to right center field. One run is home. Here comes another. Altuve drives one to deep left center. Is this his second? You bet. So as Altuve prepares to lead off in the bottom of the seventh with 2 home runs already to his credit. There's a bit of what's happened to this point. Verlander threw 99 pitches, so he should be good to go, even if they had to use him in a 4th game. More likely in the 5th game he'd be totally fine.
Saw the numbers there on Altuve and or the graphic showing what he's done. And boy, if you're a pitcher, there are first ball fastball hitters that you go over in a meeting. You just see Austin Maddox's numbers. John Farrell telling us how impressed he is with his mound presence, command of things. 14 strikeouts, only 2 walks. He's done well in just a brief number of innings, but you better make a good quality first pitch to this guy and get it down around the knees, or he'll leave the yard in a hurry.
Eight players have hit 3 homers in a postseason game. Babe Ruth did it twice. There was only the World Series then. So it's happened 9 times, counting the Babe twice. Most recently, Pablo Sandoval for the Giants in Game 1 of the 2012 World Series. Coincidentally, 2 of those 3 round trippers were off Justin Verlander, the starter and likely winner in today's Game 1 for the Astros. Altuve has homered twice. Austin Maddox began the year at AA Portland, Maine for the Red Sox. Wasn't ticketed for the big club, at least not this year, and as you said, came up, earned a spot on the postseason roster. Maddox actually made his big league debut here at Minute Maid Park back on June 17th through a scoreless inning. Red Sox lost the game. Look out here. Look out now. You want to join Babe Ruth on the list? He just did. Physically, no one would ever confuse Altuve with the Sultan of SWAT. But he's on the same list now. And all 3 were crushed.
No doubters.
There's the curtain call. And the Astros may have just about brought the curtain down on the Red Sox in this Game 1. Bradley scarcely has to move in center field, and that retires Correa.
What a player, what a year, and I pointed out early on what a challenge to a pitcher. Because of the size of the strike zone, it's tough to get it down around his knees. That one about belt high. What a great looking swing.
So now it's happened 10 times in postseason history. 9 different players, because the Babe did it twice. 3 homers in a single postseason game. Here's Gaddis, line to left, double twice.
In addition to that, you know, most batting champions, or a lot of them anyway, seem to be left-handed, particularly with the Red Sox. Yeah, but yet Altuve, along with Miguel Cabrera, there have been a couple others, Joe D, Jimmy Fox, multiple batting titles. A little unusual for right-hand hitters.
Over in the National League, I mean, back in the early days of modern baseball, Honus Wagner,
Hornsby, Clemente.
Yep.
Madlock.
Bill Madlock often overlooked 4 batting titles, right?
Oh, yeah. I never overlooked him.
3-0 now to Gaddis. One of the many beautiful things about this game is that excellence comes in all shapes and sizes.
Yep.
The last guy to hit 3 home runs in a postseason game, as we just mentioned, Game 1 of the World Series in 2012 for the Giants, when Sandoval was riding high, his physique indicated that he'd be nicknamed the Big Panda.
Yeah, right.
That feat has now been duplicated by a guy who's 5'6" and 165.
And show you how the power numbers have increased. We were talking before the game. One of my teammates in the late 50s with the Senators was Albie Pearson, 5'4", rookie of the year in '58 with 3 home runs and 33 RBIs. Now contrast that to Aaron Judge, and Albie was rookie of the year.
As Judge will be, the question is, who gets the MVP?
Yeah.
Is it Judge? Is it Ramirez or Lindor of Cleveland? Is it Altuve? Is it Trout, even though his team didn't make the postseason? Gaddis with a walk. So here are the guys we talked about. If Judge were to win it, he would join Fred Lynn, who did it in 1975, it being winning both the Rookie of the Year and the MVP. Lynn did it for the Red Sox in 1975. Ichiro Suzuki did it for the Mariners in 2001, although maybe it belongs in a separate category. As great as Ichiro has been, both in Japan and in the United States, he was a seasoned professional baseball player when he came to the Mariners. He had won, I think, 6 or 7 batting titles in Japan by that point.
Right.
Derek Fisher is the pinch runner for Gaddis, and we assume he'll remain as the DH, at least nominally, that spot in the order. Josh Reddick has had a good day. Pair of singles and a walk. There goes Fisher. Here's the throw, and they've got him.
Well, I guess A.J. Hinch is saying 6 isn't enough. I mean, normally this late in the game, you won't see teams try to steal bases. 6-run lead. He may have done that on his own. We'll see if anybody goes over to talk to him.
Well, hey, his argument is, you send me in a pinch run,
well,
I'm going to run.
If they give it to you, but obviously he got thrown out.
In modern baseball, will that cause hard feelings?
I don't know. I had an experience like that with the Cardinals and Frank Robinson managing the Giants. We lived by the stolen base. Stole the big lead, and Frank was upset. And Whitey sent a note over saying, if you'd agree to not score any more runs, I'll agree not to steal more bases. But we lived by the stolen base, not the home run. So I don't know today's game whether those kind of things would get their hackles up. They would in the past.
That one took Leon's mask off, and the count is full to Reddick. Whatever Jose Altuve is saying, everyone would be well advised to listen.
If it's about hitting.
He knows what he's doing.
what I was surprised at and asked A.J. Hinch before the game, because of his stature, it looks like the bat he's carrying is about a 38-inch bat. He said, no, it's like 32. So it's not a big, bat you'd expect from a slugger. But everybody raves about his hand-eye coordination and his quickness with the hands.
Another foul ball, and again it's out of play. A.J. Hinch had a 7-year big league career as a catcher, mostly as a backup. Good young manager with a great young player. Reddick fans to end the inning, but Altuve tacks another one on, makes it 8-2 with his 3rd solo home run of the game. It's enough to make a guy feel 6 feet tall. And tomorrow, don't miss a full slate of Division Series matchups starting at 2 Eastern with Game 2 here. Red Sox and Astros. That'll be on FS1. Xander Bogaerts starts it against Will Harris. There's the whole slate. FS1, MLB Network, and a couple on TBS. Bogaerts is 0 for 3.
Like most of the Astro pitchers, in fact, seems like most relief pitchers with every team these days, more than a strikeout an inning. An excellent strikeout walk ratio.
A ball and 2 strikes. Red Sox with 6 outs left and down by 6. Will Harris is 33 years old. He's been in the big leagues for 6 seasons. He missed almost 2 months, large portions of July and August, with right shoulder inflammation before returning. Tomorrow in Game 2, and these teams will be playing a lot in the afternoon. Game 3 at Fenway on Sunday is also an afternoon game. Then we'll have to see about a Game 4 or 5 if either is necessary. But the first 3 are definitely afternoon games. Dallas Keuchel, there he is, will go for the Astros against Drew Pomeranz. Keuchel was 14-5, ERA 2.90. Pomeranz was 17-6, ERA 3.32. The Red Sox rotation tilts heavily left-handed, which is unusual for a team that calls Fenway Park home. But you've got Sale and Pomeranz, and when healthy, David Price and Eduardo Rodriguez. Price is healthy enough to have pitched effectively out of the bullpen after his elbow woes limited him to about 70 innings during the regular season, but not healthy enough to be fully stretched out and be part of their postseason rotation. Left center field, sprinting over is Springer, and he's got it.
Ran that route like a wide receiver. Timed perfectly, stretched out. Nice play by Springer.
Despite going 0 for 4 at the plate, still plenty of spring in his step in the field. Sparkling play there. Let's go downstairs to J.P. Morosi with a special guest.
Thank you, Bob. Here with Hall of Fame pitcher and advisor to the Astros owner, Nolan Ryan. And Nolan, I think the big question today, if you went back in time 30 years and had to face Jose Altuve, what would you do?
Well, that's a good question because it'd be a challenge, and I really believe that you'd have to approach him a little different every at bat because I don't believe there's any certain way that you pitch him.
Nolan, this city means so much to you after everything Houston's been through the last 6 weeks. How special is today?
Well, it's been real special to see the way the community came together after Harvey, and the fact the ball club's done so well and the way they're responding to the ball club this year. So I think it's been a good year for the city as far as the ball club's concerned, because it gave people an opportunity to take 3 or 4 hours out of their day and take their mind off the issues that they had at home.
Nolan, Justin Verlander has talked for years about how he idolized you as a kid. As you watch him pitch today, how much of yourself do you see in him?
Well, I've really enjoyed watching him pitch, and I like his approach to pitching. And he's basically a fastball, curveball pitcher, and now he's come up with a slider, and so I think it just makes him that much better. And I've really enjoyed it, and it's been fun to watch the impact that he's had on this ball club since he's gotten here.
Nolan, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Bob, back to you.
All right, JP, thanks. 27 years, and he was still throwing in the 90s and occasionally touching 100 at the end.
That's what makes him so exceptional when you look at the body of his career, to maintain being a power pitcher well into his 40s.
Cut and a miss by Benintendi, who's 0 for 3.
Side.
Once again, 3 infielders on the right side.
Now you see Bregman over in the third base side, and with all the technology and the study that goes into where to play certain hitters, even though they overshift in different spots on every left-hand hitter. Sometimes Bregman is way over towards second, and Altuve is well out into right field. This is a pretty standard shift right here with Correa, Altuve, and Gurriel over on the right side.
toward right center field, and it will get down. Springer skids to stop it, and Benintendi is going to stop it first. Combination of a good play by Springer and good judgment by Benintendi. Down by 6, not worth the chance.
Yeah, that's impressive. You got an 8-2 game. Now in a 1-1 game, you look and say, wow, that is a huge play, particularly if it kept the double play in order. There's 2 outs here, but just to get over there and hold Benintendi to a single, that's a terrific play.
Mookie Betts, 1 for 3, had a 4th inning double. Will Harris trying to get through the 8th. Made the All-Star team a year ago. This a couple of seasons after the Diamondbacks placed him on waivers. So he's knocked around a bit. One and 2 to Mookie Betts. A liner to center and a base hit. Consecutive singles with 2 out by Benintendi and Betts. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. So Harris couldn't quite make it through the 8th inning. Hinch takes the ball. A pitching change will bring Francisco Liriano out of the bullpen. And we'll bring you this commercial. Taking no chances, A.J. Hinch brings on Francisco Liriano. 33-year-old veteran in his 12th big league season. Most of the time he's been a starter. His ERA less than impressive, 5.66 for this season. He's the lone left-hander in their bullpen, but they have at least a couple of right-handers who are equally effective against left-handed hitters. But in this situation, with Moreland at the plate, Hinch goes to Liriano. Bouncing ball, Altuve from somewhere near Austin throws him out. And I don't mean Austin Maddox, who was in the game earlier. This is the Doosan ALDS telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico.